We are back, and once again, I welcome back my beautiful girlfriend Rebecca to the driver's seat. We're not gonna bore you with the details of this little trip of ours.
Well, I mean, to put it in perspective, we just spent 45 minutes standing in line at Walmart to check out. So
yeah,
and that was not the weirdest, worst, most convoluted thing that's happened in the last 24 hours.
So we've had quite the journey. And you know, when you go through a journey like that, you're like, you know, what we need to do is we need to unwind. We need something fun. We're gonna, oh boy, a Bond movie. I don't think I've ever mentioned this on this show, but it bears mentioning just for context. I love James Bond movies.
And I do too. It's one of the things that we've bonded over.
Freaking love Bond movies. The first real Bond movie I saw was GoldenEye when I was in high school, and I was hooked. I became I got so obsessed over Bond movies. I watched them all. I memorized all these facts. So I love me.
So Pierce Brosnan was your first Bond?
Technically, yeah.
Okay.
You know.
I think Goldfinger and Sean Connery was my first Bond. So I very much prefer the retro Bond.
I actually think I watched Goldfinger first.
Welcome to
our day.
Nightmare.
Yes. Sorry about that, folks.
Well, nothing's really a nightmare as long as I'm going through it with you.
Oh, same here, baby. But I think I saw Goldfinger first. But I was young and I wasn't really paying attention.
Okay.
You know, but seeing GoldenEye in the theater just was like, ah.
Yeah.
And so, in a case, I know maybe none of you know this because it's been fairly low key in the news, but we kind of had a little health scare back in 2020. And so this movie that was supposed to come out, you know, almost 2 years ago is finally out, and it's like, oh wow, a Bond movie. I've never reviewed a Bond movie for Drive Home Reviews. I started after Spectre.
Yeah, that was 2015.
Yeah,
right?
so
after which Daniel Craig basically backmouthed the whole franchise, said he would rather slit his wrist than play James Bond again.
Well, let's get to that because I think that's important to note. I'm glad you said that, actually, because I think that is a very important point of this. So, long day, a hard trip, wanted to see a Bond movie, 2 years waiting for this Bond movie, and this is what we got.
I am mixed. And, I mean, okay, 100% we are not going to be able to talk about this without just talking. It's like spoilers galore.
Yeah, so just be okay with it.
Yes. So if you don't want to know how it ends, then you can't watch it because I can't not talk about it.
We have to talk about the ending.
So, yeah. But I don't even know, okay. I think we have different opinions there. So, okay, you start. Tell me something. Tell me your impression. Not the ending.
My impression, I really tried. We've had this debate. You are not a fan of the Daniel Craig era of Bond movies.
I feel like they have diluted and convoluted everything that a James Bond movie is. They completely took the fun out of it, and they messed up the whole concept by trying to intertwine the movies. James Bond movies are supposed to be standalone movies. They do not interconnect with each other. And much like, I remember you talking about how the Grinch doesn't need to have a past. We don't need to know what the Grinch's backstory is. James Bond did not need to have a past. I don't need to know why James Bond is a womanizer. I don't. That's just part of his character. So, I feel like they completely destroyed what a James Bond movie was with the Daniel Craig movies. Completely destroyed it.
And my argument is that I understood why they decided to go the route that they went with the Daniel Craig films. The Pierce Brosnan films have gone a little too far in the other direction.
Well, and you felt
Die Another Day was way too cartoony and too stupid. And I understand.
Is that the one with Denise Richards as a...
No, that's the one with Halle Berry.
Oh, okay, that's right.
So I understand why they went with it, and my stance on the Daniel Craig films until this afternoon was that they were very hit and miss. I thought Casino Royale was a good entry in the Bond series. It was different. It revitalized the character for folks who I think had grown a little tired of the cartooniness. And I agree with you about the past thing up to a point. Like, I like that Casino Royale showed this is not so much why he's a womanizer, but why he doesn't let anyone get close. This is why he always has to rescue the girl at the end, as opposed to always, just letting her die because he's a cold-hearted spy. It gave you those little tidbits. Okay, cool, great. Quantum of Solace, not bad, but completely forgettable. But okay, happened during the writer's strike. I didn't like the idea of doing a direct sequel to a Bond movie because they never do that.
They're standalone movies.
But I was like, okay, something different. It's not bad, it's just forgettable. Skyfall. Skyfall was a step back in the right direction. It was a little bit more fun. They brought Q back in. They brought Moneypenny back in. We thought it was a standalone film. And so I really enjoyed Skyfall. Then Spectre happened. And then Spectre, and here's the problem with all of these, is that they were not meant to be interconnected.
So
what happened in the intervening years between when Casino Royale came out and when Spectre came out was a little thing called the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where now everything has to be connected. So that's why all of a sudden in Spectre it became this, all of these events, even the things that weren't connected are connected, and we now have to make this a series of films. So that little recap of the Daniel Craig films, I'm sorry I'm taking up so much wind here, is that I consider the Daniel Craig films to be 2 1-in-1. 2 good ones, 1 really bad one in Spectre, and 1 mediocre, okay, but nothing special. But watching this one...
We've talked before, too, about how you feel like they were just trying to keep up with what the time was. The movies were darker, Batman Forever.
Yeah, again, well, that's what Bond does. It adapts with the times.
Right, but I think it could have adapted with the times without going dark.
Well, they didn't go so much dark as they tried to go more realistic.
They could try to get real gritty.
Is what they tried to do. But anyway, and so I went into this one going, okay, we can do this. And about midway through, I just had this feeling wash over me of just, I can't justify this anymore.
See, I felt
can't
like
save it.
There were some things I felt like were callbacks to old Bond.
Well, there were a lot of callbacks to old Bond.
And I appreciated that. They had a killer entrance, scene. They always have that.
Yeah.
What do they call that?
The cold open.
Yeah. Well, no, after the cold open, the music, the song, and
the titles.
Opening credit. Yeah, the titles. The James Bond always has interesting titles, and I thought this was good, and it had a retro feel to it. Not a fan of Billie Eilish, and I think this is just another sign of her selling out and, trying to,
The song ranks somewhere along with Sheryl Crow's Tomorrow Never Dies.
But the credit, the film was, that was good.
The opening title.
I liked the way that if you saw it and you're like, okay, this is going to have something to do with DNA sequencing. They're going to be talking about some kind of DNA sequencing, probably some kind of biological weapon. Okay, cool. And then just some silly things he was a little bit more had a sense of humor this time. He had the fast car and like really retro kind of old school devices, like the car thing. Like those were definitely callbacks. Like even the freaking villain's name, Lucifer, right?
I don't even want to get into Freddie Mercury there.
But I feel like yes, like it had some good callbacks. I felt like it went into a good direction, but then it hit a wall.
I'm not going to say that there weren't good parts in it.
Yeah.
Like you say, some of the action scenes were good.
Yes. The beginning ones, the end one was like twice as long as it should have been.
Oh, God. I feel like Bond did kind of have a little bit more of a sense of humor in this one. But it just... I'm not trying to make myself sound smart, but I had a feeling what they were going to do in the ending fairly early on.
Really?
I had a feeling, and I was like, no. And just the movie, all of the bad things about the Craig Bonds
coincided.
Just all of it came together, and it just...
And some parts of it were so predictable. When she gets on the train in the beginning, not even 10 minutes into the movie, I say, oh, but you will see him again because you're totally pregnant with this baby.
Yeah, because she clutched her tummy. Yes, Bond.
Yes.
See, yeah.
Yep. Okay, we'll get to that. But yeah, no, absolutely. And then James Bond is retired, and so he's off in his shorty shorts fishing, and I mean, yeah, like I just I can't. Okay.
All of the worst traits. For instance, let's just speaking in terms of filmmaking, it dragged like a motherfucker, which is one of the big problems I had with Spectre, is that it was boring as shit.
The plot line is so convoluted.
The plot line makes no sense.
Keep up and figure out who is where and what they're doing. You're not supposed to do that in a Bond movie. I shouldn't have to watch the previous Bond movie to know what's going on.
Yeah. Not only that, okay, yes, Bond movies tend to have a bit of a convoluted plot. It starts out with something simple, ooh, we found this thing, and it leads into a... But you always understand the flow of events, and you know what it is the villain wants and why they're doing it.
Right.
I had no idea why evil Freddie Mercury was doing anything.
Okay, let's talk about the villain for a second, who was played by... Oh, I am not going to remember his name. It was right there.
Freddie Mercury Robot Chicken.
No, but the problem I have with... Well, okay. You go ahead. Talk about the villain for a second.
There's nothing to talk about. He's nothing. He's boring. His evil plan makes no sense. He appears maybe once and then is gone for a huge, and you almost forget he's the villain. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot Freddie Mercury's in this, and then he's not, and his evil acting is, I will talk very slowly.
Yes. The director really needed to tell him, like, okay, you get a limit of how many dramatic pauses you get in a sentence. Okay, because that was ridiculous.
Yeah, his evil plot, it's like, okay, so why are you wiping out Spectre? And what? It's like, nothing he did made sense.
So, I know. Okay, so Rami Malek, first of all, I don't get the hype with him.
I don't either.
And maybe because I didn't watch the series he was on about the hackers.
Yeah, Chicken.
Oh, Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot.
Robot Chicken. I wondered why you called him Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
I never got the hype with him. I think he is overdone. I think that he is not a naturalistic actor, and I just don't like him. Then, on top of that, he's doing something very stereotypical of Bond movies. They've got him in a disfigured face makeup thing, and his henchman also has like a fake eye. And we've talked about this earlier, that looking at ableism in movies, and portraying people with disabilities or disfigurements as the villain is like an old trope that until that you get it pointed out to you by someone with a disability or disfigurement, you may not really notice. But after it was pointed out to me, I kind of looked back and thought, yeah, like as much as I do love James Bond franchise like movies, a lot of the villains tend to have some kind of facial disfigurement, or not the villains, the henchmen, or they look different than other people. And I think that's something that happens in a lot of movies, and maybe that's something we need to really examine as a culture and maybe figure out a different way of portraying the bad guy. In real life, the bad guy tends to look a lot more normal, and usually like a white dude. So
he was white.
I think he's like Middle Eastern.
No, you're right, actually.
Yeah, but yes. So that I had a problem with anyways. I don't think he is as talented as everybody says he is. And then on top of it, like you said, he had no motivation. Like, we find out that his family was assassinated, but never really had a really good reason why. You know? And then all of a sudden you're on this poison farm that's also a World War II bunker.
You're gonna poison everybody for some reason.
Like, what is the world? He doesn't give a reason why.
Yeah.
Is the world overpopulated? Is there, like, why are you starting this specific? No, there's no reason. He does not give a reason why, and like, it's not believable in the least.
And I won't get into the whole thing with the scars. The only thing I'll say is the only reason it didn't bug me is because you couldn't fucking see them. Like, it's like, I couldn't tell if he had scars or just a little irritation and redness. It's like I couldn't, like, I didn't even register that. But his acting, I'm sorry to say, is nothing in comparison to Daniel Craig, who clearly has no fucks to give.
Oh, he does not want to be there.
He clearly, compare this to him in Logan Lucky or him in Knives Out, where he is clearly having the time of his life.
Yes.
And I remember when Logan Lucky happened, people were like, oh my God, he's so funny and he has got so much personality. It's like, boy, it sure would have been nice to see some of that in his Bond. I liked his interpretation of Bond. I did. But it is just so clear in this that he is out of fucks to give. And he does not care. Yeah. I haven't seen anybody as dead-eyed on a screen since Jennifer Lawrence in the last couple X-Men movies. Where she's like, okay, contractually obligated, paycheck, I'm an Oscar winner, let me get out of here.
Okay, but the only time he looks like he was really having fun was when Ana de Armas was there as a kind of newbie spy, and that was fun.
See, to me, I'll disagree. I think the points he looked like he was having a good time is when he was doing scenes with Ralph Fiennes.
Oh.
Because then it looked like, hey, look, we're acting and having lines off each other, and there's conflict. And
I don't know.
And
like
Ralph Fiennes.
I don't.
Oh my God, the fucking. Do we have to see one more time the head of something was really involved in something super shady that's come back to bite them in the ass. We have done this so many times, and I get so sick of the fucking... We developed this nerve agent that kills by DNA, but we never intended it to be used as a weapon. It's like, what the fuck did you think it was going to be used for? A paperweight?
I mean, it would be more surprising at this point if they were good guys.
Yes!
But, now see, my problem is, in every scene, he looks like he is constipated and he cannot find his medicine. Like...
Who, Ray Fiennes?
Yes!
Yeah, he does.
Yes, he like absolutely looks like he is contemplating how he's going to get the poop out of him. So, but yeah, no. No, I thought that the Felix character, I thought he had a good time with the Felix character.
Yeah, with Jeffrey Wright.
But yes, thank you. But oh my gosh, I did love though. I did love Billy Magnuson as Logan Ash. Like, that character was kind of fun. That's a villain character for me. Like,
I couldn't care less. He was
no, if he was the actual villain in it, I think that would have been so good because he's got this big grin and he just looks like such a boy next door. And, like, that would have been so much better than the Rami Malek character. You know? Like, making him a little bit evil and, like, making him be the head of the, you know, like, it would have been so much better.
I've gotten tired of the evil fanboy character.
I don't know. I mean, they did have an original.
So over.
There was nothing
There
original
was
in this
nothing
movie.
original, and there were some cute, like, you know, you want to know when I knew how they were going to end it?
When they, like, saw the daughter?
No, not when I saw the daughter. It was right at the beginning when they're driving and they play,
oh my gosh.
And he says, we have all the time in the world, and they play, we have all the time in the world from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. The only notable thing about that, aside from being George Lazenby's only Bond film, was that he gets married and his wife dies at the end.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew we're going to say it, they fucking kill James Bond.
We sat there as the credits rolled and everybody else was leaving, and we're like, did they just kill James Bond?
Yes, they did.
Like, they fucking killed
James Bond. Look, there are certain rules to certain genres. Okay? You can twist these rules, you can bend these rules, you can find new interpretations of these rules. When the Daniel Craig series was at its best, and the two films that were actually good, I felt it went in those directions. It took familiar things, but twisted them or did them in a different way. But there are certain rules that once you break them for a character, it takes away the magic. Batman does not kill. There you go. Superman does not kill. And James Bond survives. And it is at that moment when it finally happened, and I was like, they fucking did it, that I could not defend this era of Bond any longer.
You finally realized I was right.
I will still always contend that Casino Royale and Skyfall are not only good movies but great Bond movies. I will always defend those two films, the two standalone films. But taken as a whole, no, I am sorry, I cannot defend the Daniel Craig film series of Bond films any longer because they fucking broke the cardinal rules. They made it a continuing series and not a series of standalone adventures. They got too much into Bond's past, who his parents were, his family. Bullshit. Yeah. All you need to know is his parents were killed in a climbing accident and he was a commander in the Navy. That's all you need to know about him. And they they missed the fucking point that James Bond is supposed to be wish fulfillment.
Yes.
That is what he is. And I'm sorry, call me politically incorrect. When they redid Bond, this was at the same time that 24 was real big. We were still in the wake of 9/11, and we wanted that hero who could go out and stop the terrorists. Call it simplistic, but it was wish fulfillment. And
I don't need my James Bond to have an existential crisis, though. And that's what he did. He had an existential crisis. And not only that, he ripped his crisis off of Iron Man. Oh, look, I've got a daughter. Oh, look, now it's just
these movies, the last two, this one and Spectre, wanted to be Marvel films so bad. And they were Marvel films so bad.
It was absolutely ridiculous.
And mostly what I felt when it was all over was just sad.
I did, I went into this going, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
This is going to be terrible. And then I had a moment of hope at the beginning when they're in Cuba, and that was exciting, and it was great, and the girl was kicking butt, and even with the Madeline character, she was strong-willed in her own self, and she was holding up, she did a lot of things for herself. So that was okay, cool. The new 007's a female. Okay, cool. A black woman at that. So that was cool. But then it was okay, that's my, oh, no.
Yeah.
So it was terrible. But I will say, you said something about the fan theory that...
Well, like I said, to me, they might have saved it for me. Because I've never liked this fan theory. But,
I actually like the fan theory.
I don't, for a number of reasons. But there is the fan theory, of course, everybody knows it, that James Bond is actually a code name, and that each time there's a new Bond, it's a new guy.
Like 007, 007 James Bond.
Yeah.
The name goes with it.
Yeah, to either keep, because he's a secret agent, so you have the, now that, I won't go into why that fan theory doesn't work, but I thought for a minute what they were leading to, because there's a scene in late in the film where Ray Fiennes is on the phone, and he's in, I guess, the Hall of M's.
Yeah.
Because they have a portrait of Judi Dench along the wall, and then behind, or to the right of Ray Fiennes, they have a photo or a painting of Brendan Lee, who was the original M.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh! So I thought maybe what they'd end up doing at the very end is hanging a portrait of Daniel Craig up in a room with the portraits of all the other Bonds, and going, well, what do we do now, sir? Now we recruit the next one.
Yeah.
And I was like, if they'd done that, I'd been like, okay, plot holes galore.
Right.
No way that actually works when you look at all the films. But I would have said, okay, fine and dandy. That still works.
Well, and the idea that there could be a female 007 James Bond is kind of cool,
My theory on that is, what I think they always should have done instead is if they want to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe so bad, then they should.
And
branch it out and have
009.
And all these different, there's all these different 00s.
Yeah.
So you could do a series and make them all very different from one another. Make one grittier and darker. Make one more kiddie-friendly. You could do all these different genres with all the different 00s, and yet have the Bond series kind of in the center.
Right.
But like I said, I don't know if that would have saved the movie for me, but it would have at least made me go, okay, they get it. They get the legacy. But this...
Now, okay, costuming was pretty good.
Well, the costuming is always good. These
costuming is really good. The scenery, really good.
Yeah, those are always really good.
I love the Q and Moneypenny in this. the one that since they've had it in, like, what's it? They
Skyfall.
started back in Skyfall. I really enjoy Q and Moneypenny. And like I said, I think that Jeffrey Wright and Billy Magnuson and Ana de Armas, like, if that would have been where our movie center, I think, and I even didn't mind the Madeline character. Like, I think that she served the purpose for what she was.
I found her to be the most boring Bond character ever. She is so boring. And of all the women Bond has known over the years, this is the one that he's going. Yeah. It's like,
I told you. What did I tell you at the beginning? I'm like, for as much sex as Bond purports to have, I bet it's really boring sex.
Well, yeah. Well, because he just moves from one to the next. He doesn't have to like improve his game. You know.
But no, I think like if I had to say high points of that, I would love to see Ana de Armas in more action movies. Like, I think she did great because she had this whole like awkward bumbling thing, and then all of a sudden she was like kicking butt all over the place. It was so fun. Gosh, and I really have become a fan of Billy Magnuson because he does his role well. He knows he's the goofy guy with the big smile who plays dumb, and he does it well. So I appreciate a person who can find their strength and go with it. All right. But overall, this was absolutely devastatingly terrible. It was.
It kills me.
I can't even rate it. Like,
give it a shot.
I mean,
grade it. What's your final grade for this?
God. Like, I'd have to say a D. Like, because like I said, I did like some of the characters. I liked a lot of the retro throwbacks. But God, like, how do you completely destroy a franchise?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. No, I'm going D.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
I'm going to D- on this one.
Wow, we never agree. Oh, D-.
I'm going D, and the only thing that keeps it from going full F for me is that there were some good parts. What makes me sad, again, is not that I'm giving this one a low grade. I think there have been some bad Bond movies. Die Another Day.
Moonraker.
I think Moonraker's charming.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the cheeseball factor.
It's got the cheeseball factor. It's got Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
But, things like Die Another Day, View to a Kill is virtually unwatchable because Roger Moore is just done.
Oh, that's true. He was over it then, but I do like Roger Moore as well.
I love Roger Moore. I think he's my favorite Bond, honestly. But what makes me sad is that you have to now, because they're forcing you to, you have to look at the Daniel Craig series as a whole, and it's bad.
Yeah.
It's a loss. There are 2 good movies in there, 1 forgettable, and 2 that just destroy everything. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking. It's like, and I know why they did it, but it just distresses me. So I can't guarantee. I'll have to sleep on it for a while. I can't guarantee this is going to be the #1 worst movie of my year, but it's in the discussion.
I mean, Queen Bees.
I've seen worse than that. Queen Bees didn't have a legacy. Queen Bees didn't have a legacy it was living up to.
And Rami Malek, stop pausing. You don't have to pause after every word. God, it's awful.
I'll go you one better. Rami Malek, stop.
Yes, please.
Just you and Jared Leto.
Oh,
you're done.
Oh,
we're sorry.
Talk about Jared Leto.
We tried. We can't live with you anymore.
No,
it didn't work out.
Hey,
thank you.
At least we did get a good James Bond movie this year, but her name was not James Bond. Her name was Black Widow.
Yeah.
And she killed it.
Yeah.
So. Yes.
So I must admit to being heartbroken about this one. I'm sad about it.
But I told you,
I'm really sad about it.
I'm not heartbroken because this was just exactly the kind of thing I expected from the Daniel Craig, James Bond magazine.
So when you do your Bond-a-thons, skip these last two and pretend
really
they didn't happen.
I like Daniel Craig and stuff.
I do too. I liked him as Bond, but fuck, can't do it.
Bad.
So there we go. Sad panda.
Now to make it up to me, you gotta go watch Lamb.
I gotta go watch a horror movie. So that'll be fun. Alrighty. So that'll be our next one. So tune in to watch me review a horror movie. This ought to be interesting. Thank you for joining us. I have to go cry now. I have to go stare in a mirror, and as a single tear kind of drips down my face for Bond.
Would you like me to play the Billie Eilish Bond song while you do?
Oh God, no.
No time to die.
Oh Lord. So as always, thank you for joining us, and drive safe. I can't do it. Drive safe, and we'll see you at the movie. I was gonna try to sing it like a Bond theme, but it didn't work.